Well, we certainly know kind of the blueprint of how it all fits together, but every one of those players' skill sets a little bit different. Um, you know, lucky to have a guy like Cat who's so versatile and gifted that you can use him in a lot of different ways. That makes it easy. And then obviously, having Rudy at the center of our pick and roll, and then finding ways to be creative around that is going to be key for us. But yeah, I mean, the league is, seemingly trending small, but when, your best players are not guards and you have a guy like Cat, how do you augment that? And, there's no better way than to go out and get the best rim protecting big in the league and try to be different every single night and make teams adjust to you.
Tim mentioned you doing a lot of whiteboard work here in the last couple of days. What's that been like, just trying to think of different creative ways to make this work?
It's fun. I think we just starting to scratch the surface. A lot of it's organic, to be honest with you. We get these two guys on the floor. We figure out the dynamic between the two of them, first and foremost, with our bigs. And then we kind of fit the pieces in around that. But yeah, it's, looking forward to our staff getting together in Vegas coming up here, Summer League. First time we'll really be together as an entire staff. It's going to be fun to talk about some things that we can do, and everyone's going to bring different ideas, and we just got to make sure we keep it, simple and highly executable.
When it comes to the kind of the season that this team can have in the playoffs, can you make deep runs when two of your potential starters are going to be 20, 21 years old in this league, and everything that gets thrown at them in a playoff series?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of growth for us in all facets, So, just to start backwards at a deep playoff run, and reverse engineer it, it's probably unfair for this group right now. We still have young players that are trying. We need to keep growing and growing, and certainly teams tend to go small in the playoffs, but we're gonna have to. We're not doing that. So we're gonna have to figure out the way that all these things work. But we feel very confident in our ability to do so, and more importantly, in our players' ability to do so.
What does this change for you in terms of, you mentioned pick and roll?
Yeah.
In terms of leaning into that more and the balance of ball movement versus pick and roll, how do you kind of envision that very early right now?
Well, I think it gives us many different faces. We know how well D'Lo plays with the dive big, something that we've not been able to kind of maximize in his tool chest. Cat double teaming probably is a little bit more, of a pick your poison thing. If we can figure out how to punish that, we still want to be a pace team. We still want to be a movement team. I don't see that stuff changing. Like, we still want to open up the floor for Anthony's attacking. I could see now, like, with Rudy's rebounding, maybe we can get Cat in some early post-up situations. That's low-hanging fruit. We haven't been able to do that because he's been rebounding and trailing the play, where he's absolutely very good there too. So those are some little things as you start thinking about that get me excited.
Do you envision an environment where Cat gets more three-point shots simply because Rudy has the paint?
I think that could happen. I think Cat's got a game where he's not one-dimensional, so we don't want to make him just a spot-up two guard. But we did try to encourage him to take even more threes last year. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league, irrespective of position. So,
I just mean in terms of gravity when you have that pick and roll play with D'Lo and
yes, for sure. I think so, and I think Cat's ability to attack closeouts we saw a lot from the top of the floor last year. Certainly at the end of transition opportunities. So, that's something we could utilize maybe more.
Catching the ball around the nail and playmaking from there after
Yeah.
setting screens. Just how important is that still going to be, despite having a guy like Rudy that's so good in the pick and roll?
Well, it's still going to be a facet of what we do. A lot of that was to counter the way that teams were guarding us and guarding him. And maybe we can throw out lineups now where they can't do that as much. And guard the way that they want to and make them guard the way that we want them to.
Chris, when Rudy was an opponent and you were playing and facing him, how much was his defense top of mind when you faced him?
Yeah, it's pretty much everything. His defense and his offense. When you're a team that likes to live at the rim, he presents a big problem. And then, of course, when he's rolling and forcing your defense to make a lot of decisions, he's just such a changes the dynamic of the game on both ends of the floor, so.
He obviously covers up so many of the weaknesses that you guys have defensively. How much do you think you guys have the personnel to unlock more out of him?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to certainly practice our lob passes. I think we threw 5 last year. He had 87 alone. I think,
number 5, right?
yeah, I think 3 of those were in transition too. So, I think a couple things. I think we can, maybe free him up a little bit, trust him a little bit more. We start with a clean slate, and that's how we start with all of our players. And we give them a very wide spectrum of things to that they can do within the flow of our offense. We also have to be careful that we can't expect him to come in and be the entire savior of our defense. We still got to get better in a lot of areas with our defense, and that he has transition and it has nothing to do with anything that Rudy can help us with. In fact, might quite be the opposite. We need to cover for him until he can get back down the floor. And so these are things that, again, I've been thinking about a lot, and those are things that a good team does for each other. And we'll see if we want to do that, but I believe we do.
Chris, is this about your emotions?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Does it just feel like it's a newer thing where you give up so many picks in 1 year?
That's probably a question better answered by Tim. I just know that when you have opportunity to get a guy like this, you gotta be aggressive. Your chances of getting him in any other mechanism is very, very, very slim. So.
Chris, can you talk about your emotions when his name first comes up to all the time, the talks go back and forth, and then you get him?
Yeah, I think, when these things come up, you kind of caught a little bit off guard, and you start thinking, it doesn't matter who the player is, how the fit is, and of course, really excited right away. We've long talked about putting rim protecting 5 next to Cat and see how that can help him. Certainly since I've been here, that's been ongoing discussion. We talked about a lot of different options there, and when you get the best one that's out there, it's a home run. So it actually became something that we were really, really excited about. And we had to temper our emotions through a lot of it just because we weren't sure if it was going to happen or not. So.
And Jaden are both really good on all defenders on the perimeter. How much does a guy like Rudy behind them maybe accentuate what they can do and allow them to do even more of it?
Yeah, I think we're pretty aggressive out on the perimeter. We like to be into the ball and create turnovers, and maybe we can be even a little bit more aggressive in some of those areas. We just have to make sure that we're not reckless and putting him in tough spots. And a lot of times just being solid, and when you have a guy like that, deterrence is one of the best rim protections, and just the opponent's unwillingness to really want to come at you time and time again. So hopefully we can turn that into more aggression on our end.
8 days ago, Chris, unprompted, you brought up Jalen and Jaden's name and Ant, saying your development this next season will in large part be to how they develop.
For sure.
Did you know something then that Jalen and Jaden would still
No.
be here?
I mean, they're part of our young core. We're committed to those guys. Obviously, we fought extremely hard to keep Jaden out of the deal. Everybody wants Jaden. We get a lot of phone calls and a lot of, as you should want, a young 6'10" two-way player with immense upside. But we still, we didn't know anything about this at that point in time, so we were just, still leaning into what we still lean into. It was our young players got to continue to grow and get better. We were committed to try to find a way to get Jalen a more consistent role and see if he can seize that opportunity. And, obviously we lost some really great players, guys that were unbelievable for our turnaround this season, and guys I was particularly close to. But, it does open up opportunities for guys